Thank you for downloading from the BBC. For details of our complete range of podcasts and our terms of use, go to bbcworldservice.com/podcasts.
Today on BBC World Service, we are discussing taboos in the English language. Joining me today are two social linguistics professors, Keith Allen and Kate Burridge. Could the two of you please introduce yourselves to the listeners?
Hi, my name is Keith Allen. I've been in this field of work for over 43 years, and I think it's wonderful of you, John, to have us over.
Hi everyone, my name is Kate Burridge. I've been a social linguistics professor for about 34 years.
Is it correct that you have written 3 books together?
Yes, it is. In 1991, we published our first book. It was called Euphemism and Diphemism, Language Used as a Shield and Weapon. And it covers the subject of using a mild expression to substitute one considered too blunt, and vice versa.
Indeed. Next to that, we've written a book about the English language and linguistic companion, but let's not get into that. The last book, however, deals with forbidden words, especially taboos and the censoring of language.
Which is what we're going to talk about. Now, let's get to the point. Swapping a word for another word to make it sound less offensive is often done today. Take, for example, immigrants being seen as aliens, not as humans. This would only put more pressure on today's choices we make for the words we choose. This is because we keep putting stress on words which can be too direct or too offensive, and thus we reformulate the words to get rid of the negative emotional charge the words combined have. On the other hand, this brings a negative effect. By doing so, we only create more words which will carry an emotional meaning, and that way we create more linguistic taboos. So Keith and Kate, before the two of you comment on any of this, could you first define the term linguistic taboo for us?
Of course. In my opinion, the term taboo refers to words and phrases that are generally considered inappropriate.
Yes, I totally agree on what you just said, Keith, but there's one more thing I'd like to add. The words or phrases are only inappropriate in a certain context. As an example, the term gay was used to describe a happy person when homosexuality wasn't generally accepted. But now that it is becoming more conventional, the meaning has changed. It is now often used to describe a man that has feminine traits.
So Kate, would you consider a reformulation of a taboo to be effective?
I personally believe it is quite useless. Look at the many times we have tried to change a taboo to another word. For instance, the way we reformulated the term nigger into the expression black people. The reformulation is still negatively charged. Even if you repeat the process again and again, by changing black people into African American people, nothing will change. The negative charge cannot be lost, no matter how often the process is repeated. Therefore, there's no use in doing so.
Keith, do you think that a reformulation process is useless, just like Kate?
No, my opinion does not fall in line with Kate's. People are raised differently, and they grow up with different values and norms. Therefore, people can have clashing interpretations, which can lead to misunderstandings. That's why you should have different names for taboos that are current.
Coming back on the racial taboo, replacing the phrase does not change anything. I personally think that color does not make it less offensive. Either way, you portray those people as being different from society.
Another argument that I think is important is that I do think the negative charge gets less. I can of course not speak from personal experience, but I have often heard that African Americans feel insulted and discriminated when they are referred to as niggers instead of, for instance, African Americans. I agree the charge doesn't disappear, but I do think the decrease is worth the effort.
Okay, dear listeners, we're going to leave it here. In short, Kate is of the opinion that we shouldn't reformulate taboos because it would only create new ones. On the other hand, Keith would do so because it does reduce the negative charge. If you want to comment on this podcast or the topics covered in it, you can send us an email. The address is globalpodcast@bbc.co.uk. I'm John Humphries, and until next time, goodbye.